Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Deviating Tangents, the show where two guys try to talk about stuff, and you listen.
And inevitably, we get sidetracked and circle back, maybe, or just go off on several other tangents.
That's how the show works. It's how it's worked since day one. This is episode 4, and as anybody remembers, in the last episode, I said I'm going to try to track down Kermit the Frog, and I had no luck.
Yeah, it turns out he's really busy right now.
Especially like this time of year, the holidays are coming up.
Yeah, the whole Muppet Christmas Carol.
He's really busy with Muppet stuff, but we were able to contact a really close friend of Kermit's. Can you introduce yourself, please? Hi, hee-ho, I am Kremit the Fug. Did you just say, nope, Fug, F-U-G. How's it going, everybody? It's nice to be on this show. We're deviating tangents and whatnot. I am the live field reporter, coming at you from the nearest field.
And what do you do out there in that field there, Kremit?
I harvest the children's.
You harvest the children's?
Yes, the children of the corn.
Okay.
There's children in the corn. They're trapped in there. I can hear them screaming. I'm getting them out.
All right. So, tell us a little more about yourself there, Kremit.
I'm so glad you asked, Scott. My name is Kremit the Fug, and I am a frog. I am a fug frog of sorts. I can only imagine you have questions about how I look, and that is, pull open Google image search if you must, and Google search Kermit the Frog, and just imagine what Kermit the Frog looks like, and I look nothing like that. I'm Kermit-shaped, but I am much fatter than Kermit is. I am brown. He's green. I am brown. Instead of the half ping pong ball eyeball things, I just have googly eyes. But other than that, we pretty much look the same.
And tell everyone, Kremit, is it easy being brown?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people. I don't get why Kermit's been on a soapbox saying it's not easy being green. He's just from like the bayou where like he just has to worry about getting eaten by crocs and stuff. I know 4 turtles that live in Manhattan that have it so much harder than he does.
Yeah, but those turtles, I mean, they enjoy a pizza.
Well, who doesn't enjoy pizza? Pizza's like it's life.
Exactly. So those turtles seem to be having, a pretty good life. They got all the pizza they can want.
Yeah, but they got like these guys. They got a bunch of ninjas after them. They call themselves the Foot. They dress up in purple and they beat them up. I don't know. I only know one of them, and he's where I buy my pot from. But
are you buying pot from one of the turtles or from one of the Foot Clan?
No, from one of the turtles.
Oh, all right.
The orange one. I think his name's Mike.
I should really know my turtles.
Think it's Mike. I hope I did not just out my weed dealer. No, I must retreat into the field.
And
you never saw me.
Kermit the Fug, everybody. Kremit the Fug. All right.
So how was that for a celebrity guest appearance? This is an audio show, so none of you could see it. He just took my chair and like wheeled me into the other room, and he just took my microphone. I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, and he was not gentle about it.
No, he's like, get out of here. This is my show. He just grabbed by the back of the chair. It's a wheelchair. Like I can only imagine if it wasn't like a desk chair because he's tiny, but like he manhandled this chair. But I guess he's going to... Did he say he was going to be in, like, a field or something?
Yeah, that's what he... Apparently that's where he lives.
Kremit, which field are you going to? All of them! I reside in every field at once!
I question the logistics, but I don't...
I am frightened.
Yeah.
Kremit is in every field? That's right!
Something about an omnipresent fug.
What kind of last name is Fug?
Right? What even is a fug?
Guys, you should get to today's topic.
I mean, he's got a point.
He's got a point. Today's topic is why are theisms boring now?
All right.
We talked about this briefly before we started recording
yeah.
the show. And I posed the question, and now I know that they don't have much in tandem with each other, but so in Greek mythology, the actual mythos of like the Titans and the Olympians and all that stuff were used for astronomy so that sailors could tell stories of certain star shapes, and they could use those star shapes from those stories to know where they were and where they were headed while they were sailing. And that just got all like passed down from time, and people started believing that there was this Mount Olympus, which is a real place, where on top of it, because it was so high, it like crested the heavens, and all of the Greek gods lived up there. But so I posed the question, if Zeus is the king of the Olympian gods, if he's like head honcho number one, why is he not representative of the sun? If you look into Roman theology, which they just copy and pasted Greek mythology, Zeus is called Jupiter, which I get it. Jupiter's it's the largest planet in our solar system. But why is Zeus Jupiter, not the sun? Apollo is the sun in both Greek and Roman theology. Like, Apollo doesn't even have a name change. And I think Apollo is the son of, it's Zeus and I think Leto, whatever her name is. She's the Titan of something. It's not even Hera.
She's also the lead singer in the White Stripes.
Do you mean... No.
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto is from 9 Minutes to Mars.
Whatever.
60 Seconds to... No.
Just cut off.
This is Eleanor Rigby all over again. What's the name of that band? Oh, I'm all turned around now. Because now I'm thinking about our Eleanor Rigby joke. You look it up while I tell the story. We were talking about Greek gods, and now we're talking about music. Which I guess the mythology has been passed down through, like, storytelling and stuff. But so here's the story.
30 Seconds to Mars.
30 Seconds to Mars. 9 minutes. 60 seconds. Yeah, round trip.
525,600 minutes to Mars.
So, where Scott and I used to work, we had they would play the radio at night, and it was just like stuff you hear on the radio all the time. And so, so was the song Baba O'Reilly by The Who comes on.
Yeah.
And so I think we were clocking out for lunch, and Scott turns to me and he goes, "What's the name of the song? Is Eleanor Rigby?" And I'm like, "No, Eleanor Rigby's by the Beatles. This is by The Who. This song is called..." And as I'm trying to say it, all I can hear in my brain is Eleanor Rigby, Eleanor Rigby, Eleanor Rigby. And so for like the next hour, I could not remember what the song was called because Scott had implanted a new memory in my brain.
It's fascinating, really. Just how easily our brains just malfunction like that. Like, something that you know for certain, that a memory you've been able to recall just every single day of your life, all of a sudden stops.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta let that brain block happen and come back to it later.
Yeah. Which is really scary. I guess we're going to talk a bit like more of like the health aspect of it. So since I started dating Jess, there's a term that I've never heard of in the medical world that has been thrown around a lot that apparently is a real thing called brain fog. Mm-hmm. So when your body is afflicted by something, or if you're under the influence of, some type of like a psychotropic drug, and I'm not saying like if you were to say get high on marijuana and you just kind of space. Brain fog is like your body is doing too much for your brain to use its memory.
Yep. You're on autopilot essentially.
Yes, like your body is moving, but your brain isn't functioning.
Like highway hypnosis, where you just drive down the highway for an hour,
and then you
have
realize
no
you
recollection
have
of
not
doing
looked
that.
at the road for an hour.
Yeah. Terrifying stuff, but your body is moving on instinct alone.
Yeah, it's one of those like autonomic functions where it's like you breathe and blink without knowing that you're breathing or blinking.
Until you realize that, oh, hey, you have to breathe and blink, and now you are completely focused on it to the point where even I am struggling right now to breathe.
Yeah. And everybody listening to the show for the next 5 minutes at least is going to be fully aware of every time they breathe and every time they blink. I love it.
Yep. And it's so easy to implant those thoughts on someone.
Yep.
And so I read a story yesterday on, so the contagious yawn response.
Yes.
So apparently, like narcissists don't have that, and like it can be a sign of like sociopathic tendencies,
Like high self-importance.
yeah, like not empathizing with others.
Yeah. I can believe that. Normally when because I'm always subconsciously aware of stuff like that, so it's like every time I see somebody yawn, I think to myself, oh hey, they yawned, let's see if I can fight the urge to yawn.
Right, because you know it's coming.
Yeah. And usually I can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are, why aren't you yawning? And I'm like, because I saw you do it and I didn't want to do it.
Mythbusters was a great show.
It was a great show. How many seasons did they run for?
What is it, like a dozen? Something like that?
Probably close.
They should do more. I feel like a lot of shows like that were ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Because like the makerspace movement is really starting to take off, and like I don't want to always equate everything back to right to repair, but I feel like with more stringent right to repair laws, it's easier to have access to just tinkering tools like that.
Yeah.
And just, be able to build things yourself, build robots, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Remember BattleBots?
I do remember BattleBots.
BattleBots
Speaking of
was
Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Grant Imahara, now passed. Bless him. Because that was sudden.
Yeah.
He had like an aneurysm, right?
Something like that.
Not to draw attention to a tragedy, but like he was one of the first winners of BattleBots or something like that. Was it Robot Wars? I think it was BattleBots.
It might have been. I don't remember.
But he was one of the first winners. Yeah. And like I think that's how he got on the show essentially, because he was like one of the first team contestants.
Yeah.
And the winners, like the champion winners, had to go up against Jamie Heinemann's robot, which was like undefeated. And so I think that's how Grant got to meet Jamie, and that's what he got on the show essentially. And like
we don't have anything like that on TV anymore.
No, like there isn't really a there's not really like good edutainment anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is, and I'm not thinking of it.
Of course, I don't even have cable, so
yeah.
Like my exposure is limited. But
like the last 5 years of cable, I have no context.
Most of it is just trash reality TV anyway.
Yeah. And even when I did have cable, we watched the same thing all the time.
Well, yeah, of course. You don't know if you're going to like something new, so why would you try?
Exactly.
Which
I'm not going to waste
my
my
time. It is a horrible mindset to have, but at the same time, most things out there are shit.
Yeah. No, I remember growing up in my household, we always had AMC or Hallmark Channel specifically so that we could watch MASH if nothing else was on, which was a good show.
I never got into it, but I was aware of it. My mother liked it.
I wish, because that's almost, because the message is timeless. For anybody that's never seen MASH, MASH stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, and it was a comedy sitcom based in the middle of the Korean War, where it was just a American GI unit of doctors that were just trying to, get by during their time spent in Korea. And it was a modern commentary and this is from like the 70s. It was a modern commentary on how war was wasteful, which is like a timeless message. So I feel with like how military innovation has gotten to the point where we don't need troops in a country anymore. We can just like drone strike everything.
Which should also be regulated.
Yes, and it's a very scary thought. But like you couldn't make MASH today because we don't focus so much on ground soldiers anymore. I mean, we do.
The whole infrastructure of occupying a country is different now than it was then.
Yes. It's not so much about physical occupation as it is ideological.
There's a quote from Hawkeye that I think is timeless, and I'm sure you know what quote I'm already talking about.
Probably the one about war?
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone knows the old adage, war is hell. They say something different in the show, and I think it hits a lot harder than just war is hell, and I think it comes from a more real place.
Tell me, Father, who goes to hell?
Sinners, I believe.
I'm gonna let you've got it.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. Yeah. So Hawkeye says, exactly. There are no innocent bystanders in hell, but war is chock full of them. Little kids, cripples, and old ladies. In fact, except for a few of the brass, almost everyone involved is an innocent bystander.
Which is a really sad but honest way to...
That is the harsh reality that we live in.
Yeah. It was such a good show.
And that's from what, the 80s?
70s.
70s?
Late 70s, early 80s. It's weird. The show ran longer than Korea was a war. But I don't want to dwell on this too much. I just brought up a show.
Yeah, we got into some heavy stuff.
Neither of us are from military backgrounds and don't really have much merit to talk about the subject. I was talking about a show that I like.
Yep.
And then we just kind of spiraled from there. But
so Apollo.
I did want to get back to what we were talking about because you completely threw me with the Jared Leto comment. But no, this is kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but why is Zeus not the god of the sun? Why is his actual son, Apollo, the god of the sun, the most powerful entity in our galaxy?
Because Zeus is good at delegating. That's why he has so many kids, so he can offload so many responsibilities.
I looked at like not the chronology, but like the actual like descendants list of like all of Zeus's children, and there's like over 20.
Yeah. Most of ancient Greece's problems could be solved with Zeus keeping it in his pants.
If Zeus was faithful to his wife, to his sister wife. There's a lot of stuff like that, especially like in Greek. Like everybody's doing everybody.
So I actually do have a story about Apollo.
Really?
So Apollo had a love interest.
Yeah.
Her name was Cassandra.
That would make sense.
Yes. So Cassandra was a human girl, and there's a couple versions of the story. Essentially, she was gifted powers by the fates to essentially be able to foretell the future
with perfect accuracy.
With perfect accuracy, with the caveat no one would listen to her or believe her.
Yes, which that would work really well in tandem with Apollo because he never like appeared before people as a god.
Yeah.
Which a lot of like the main Olympians would do, but him being part of that second generation, he spoke to people in the form of the Oracle of Delphi. Mm-hmm. Or at least that's how the mythos portrays it. So,
I think that's really tragic. Like, it is a burden to be right all of the time. It is a burden to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And not be able to do anything about it, and to have people think, oh, hey, you're crazy, you're just spouting random nonsense. But then it happens, and everyone's like, well, what the fuck? Why did you do this?
Yeah. And it's kind of that, if you know something's happening, like, that's something that you can apply to, like, real life, too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you work in an office or in any type of place of work, and you know that something's happening that shouldn't be, but it's like, and you try to tell people, but nobody believes you.
And usually you're the one who gets taken out for it. Like you come to your boss with a problem saying, oh, hey, this is a bad thing, something is going to go very wrong. You're fired.
Yeah.
Like that's it. End of story.
And blacklisted.
Yeah.
And then the bad thing happens, and it's like, oh, well, it was their fault because they knew but didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
What was it? I had a deviating tangent of a thought. Welcome to the show where we do that. Do you remember the Disney's Hercules TV show?
Yes, and I think it is fantastic and a great way of explaining Greek mythology.
Yeah. Every episode, because it was a very serialized, like, villain of the week show.
Yeah.
But it was more situational. Like, every episode was a different Greek story. And I love that.
It has one of my favorite lines in media. What was his name? Was it Atlas? No, it wouldn't have been Prometheus.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you don't know, Prometheus climbed Mount Olympus and brought fire down to every normal day people.
Prometheus was one of the few titans that Zeus did not banish to Tartarus.
Yeah. However, for his crimes of giving fire to the normal people, he was sentenced to be chained to a rock for all eternity, and every single day a vulture would come and eat his liver, and every day it would grow back, vulture would come back, eat it again. In Hercules the animated series, they have an episode on Prometheus, and vulture shows up with an onion, and Prometheus is like, is that an onion? Are you going to eat my liver with an onion? And it's fantastic because it's such a smart joke. It's so stupid at the same time.
It's a funny setup for an otherwise really stupid and corny joke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good episodes. I recently, I don't know if it was Disney Plus. It had to have been a couple months ago when I had a Disney Plus account, which I just got another one because Jess and I started watching more Disney movies. We watched Ratatouille the other night.
Nice.
We got through half of it. We still need to finish it at some point, but I think Hercules the animated series is on Disney Plus, and I'm like, how well do they like actually tackle the Greek mythos? And every episode is like, hey, I know that person from this story, and it ties in perfectly to their. I think like 90s and 2000s Disney Channel, like cartoon writers had their eye on the ball when it came to like writing material, because that show was done so well. I love that Hercules is because in the original Greek mythos, the 12 labors of Hercules, he's not a bumbling oaf, but he's a strong, misunderstood man. And how do you make that into a story for children to follow? You just make him a socially awkward kid. Both the movie and the show, he was like that. Even as a full-grown adult, Hercules was not liked by people, and he was causing accidents like breaking his whole city that he grew up in, which I can't remember what that town is supposed to be. He completely, if anybody's seen the movie, he completely trashes it entirely on accident,
multiple times.
That's what happens when you have godlike strength.
And don't know how to control it.
And so I just love in the cartoon, in the show, he's set up as this awkward teenager that needs to go to high school because he needs to get his diploma and be intelligent because that's better than being strong.
And that's a trope that you see in a lot of shows in that time. And I think it really resonates with a certain audience because, like, we've all been there. We've all been the awkward high school student who's kind of on the fringe of society. Yeah, you've got your friend group, but like, you don't know everyone. You're not in everyone's circle. And there are just going to be people who don't like you just because you're you.
Or there's like I was actually going to bring up his friend group. So in the show, Hercules has two friends. Mm-hmm. There's Icarus, the son of Daedalus, the grand inventor. Mm-hmm. Icarus being the kid who escaped with his father on the wax wings and flew too close to the sun. They reference that in the show because Icarus, played by French Stewart, really funny guy, he's weird. He's an eccentric weirdo.
And so, fits the character perfectly.
His crush that just happens to be part of their trio is Cassandra, is where you brought that up. And she's portrayed as just like this 90s, 2000s goth girl, which is perfect for her. There's an episode where she like works part-time for Hades because he's looking for a diviner, and she's like got that pure foresight. Icarus is always trying to get with her, and she's like, no, because she's all macabre and stuff. And so I remember in the movie, Hercules Hero to Zero, which is just like essentially a clip show of like 4 different episodes. I think it capped off the show finishing because it wouldn't make sense to show episodes from the show if they hadn't come out yet. And some of these episodes were from like season 2, so it had to be at the end of the show's life cycle.
Well, you know, with Disney shows of the time, 63 episodes max.
But
we've talked about that before.
In the very first episode, it's Hercules' first day of high school, and he meets Icarus and he meets Cassandra both at lunch. Well, he meets her at lunch, and so Icarus like goes back up to get food, and so Herc's just sitting there with Cassandra, and he's like, Icarus is a great guy. Is he your boyfriend? And she's like, try Stalker. Stalker? He thinks he's my boyfriend. He flew too close to the sun. Oh, so he's that Icarus? I always wondered about his hair. It goes deeper, like, to his brain. So I love the dialogue in that show. It's a product of its time, the dialogue is, but the writing to portray that kind of show is timeless. And you've got, like, Adonis, the rich bully. You've got... There's a recurring on-again, off-again love interest who's an Amazon, and I forget her name for the life of me, but every episode features, like, a new god's problem. Speaking of Apollo, there's an episode where Hercules needs to get his chariot's license, and so Zeus, he's like, oh, I'm going to introduce you to my buddy, not son, to my buddy Apollo. He controls the sun. He rides the sun into the daytime, and so you can, like, essentially, I can use my godly influence and father powers to.
If anyone can teach you how to drive a chariot, it'll be the guy who pulls the sun.
Exactly, and Hercules, like, of course, he screws it up.
Of course,
so that there's like an actual like drama for the episode where he's like driving the sun through the town and setting stuff on fire. It's just done really, really well. And I hate that I bring all this up. I wanted to talk about this today. I bring all this up because, like, I grew up as a Christian. I grew up as somebody with a monotheistic belief system, and all of this polytheism is way more interesting than anything I've been taught.
So that is a touchy subject that I think deserves a little bit of airtime. We're not saying religions are bad. We're not saying they're good.
I just wish... I'm not saying good or bad either way. If it helps you sleep at night and doesn't hurt anyone, I think you should be entitled to your belief system.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wish that mine was more interesting. And there's a lot of... If anybody that's read the Bible or grew up with any type of Christian faith, there's some cool stuff that happens in the Bible. But, like... no 12 labors of Hercules stuff. And I feel like I was cheated out of some interesting storytelling as well.
I mean, I think that's what it should be, is storytelling.
Well, we were talking about this before the start of the show. Greek mythology was solely so that sailors could navigate the ocean, navigate the sea.
So that's another thing I would like to touch on. I want... History is interesting because people back then didn't have access to the technology and understanding that we have now. So they had to come up with explanations for the world around them using the only tools they had. And if that was, just making up stories about the movements of the stars and, saying that these are gods of the sun, titans who bring fire, that's fine, great. They are explaining things in ways that make sense to them. It's not to say they're right or wrong, it's just that's how they...
Storytellers wanted a reason for being.
Yeah.
So they created their own origin story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. I mean, like, every theism has its own origin story.
And it's not limited to theism as well. So, like, folklore.
Yeah.
And like, oh, hey, the chupacabra, it eats goats. But, like, it's not real.
And, all of that kind of stuff, like, starts to, like, blur the line of, like, urban legend stuff.
Yeah.
I was reading a thing the other day about the Jersey Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, then you get into, like, cryptids and stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, how much of that is real and how much of it is believable. But
right.
It's like, there's no precedent for it and there's no documentation for it. But
exactly.
A lot of people claim to have seen it. So
part of the story is the mystique around the story.
Yes.
Like the Mothman. Just big old giant moth that shows up near lights.
Mm-hmm.
No one...
Could have just been a really big moth.
Yeah. Exactly.
You've seen those things? They get flipping huge. But like the Wendigos of like North America, like in the wilderness of Canada and stuff, and apparently around here.
Well, that's unsettling.
Yeah, we apparently live in Wendigo territory. So just don't resort to cannibalism in the middle of a blizzard, and you'll be fine.
Wasn't there a game? Dead by Daylight? Is that
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So make the right choices, or you're gonna turn yourself into a monster in the snow out there.
Yeah. That's literally all you have to do to avoid becoming a Wendigo. Just don't resort to cannibalism at night during a blizzard. That's it. Really, really niche set of circumstances. But apparently that can happen. So just
all of those very specific things, like, oh, hey, don't put a chicken egg under a frog or you'll get a giant snake.
Yeah.
Because that's apparently how you make a basilisk. You let a frog incubate a chicken egg.
That's the kind of folklore. That's the kind of folklore and stuff that I love.
Just the sheer absurdity of it.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I think it's interesting when you get into like belief systems. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that the modernization of religions. Where there's a lot of overlap with different ones because people like making boats and traveling the seas and swapping stories, and they're like, oh, that's a pretty cool story. I'm going to incorporate that into my own nation's like backstory. Seemingly every belief system has a worldwide flood story.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think of like the Noah's Ark story, apparently every worldly religion has that. Every religion believes in a great flood. What it was caused by is always different, and the circumstances surrounding it were different, but everyone seems to believe that at one point there was a worldwide flood. We don't know why.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, if the world started as the supercontinent Pangea, and then, plate tectonics or a meteor or something, whatever, split the world into the continents we know today, I could see there being, some violent flooding when that happened.
Yeah, but all of that happened billions of years ago before mankind.
That's fair.
Like, apparently, mankind is as old as potentially 80,000 years. 85,000 BC, I believe, is where like our ancient ancestral footprint comes from. Maybe it's 100,000. I don't remember. I'd have to look up the information on that. But it's like we go back a long way, and like we befriended dogs and stuff like that. Like humans have been around a long time, enough to like drastically change the ecosystem.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And that's before like the 1900s. But now, what I also wanted to talk about, not just the flood, maybe not everyone, but almost every belief system, or like folklore. This is more a folklore thing.
Yeah.
Everywhere has some type of dragon.
Okay, if you didn't say it, I was going to.
Dragons are everywhere. They're different. All of them are different, and they do different things.
There's a very distinct difference between a Western dragon and an Eastern dragon.
Yeah, they're completely different, but they're both dragons.
Yes.
And I find that fascinating. I want to know who invented the first dragon, and what did they think it was?
And why does seemingly everywhere around the world have a story about a dragon?
Yeah. Why can dragons fly? You know, it's why all dragons can fly, seemingly. And there are different types of dragons.
Yeah, Eastern dragons don't have wings.
Yeah, but they can still fly.
Yeah.
And even Western dragons, which is like the kind I'm most familiar with, you've got different types of subsets of dragons.
Yep.
Because dragons are quadrupedal and have wings. Then you have wyverns, which are bipedal. They have no front legs. They just have their hind legs.
And they have little claws.
And they have claws on their wings, but they're still winged dragons.
Yeah.
You have lindworms, which are dragons, Western dragons without wings that only have two front legs. I don't know if they can fly, but
well, I mean, they're dragons. They have to.
And then you have like half Draco and like all sorts of there are dragons mixed with dragons, which is why like the half dragon, dragonborn origins of some folklores are really cool, and all that stuff gets like put into D&D because it's like, oh, you're half dragon. It's like, there you go. Stuff like that I find it very fascinating.
And not just for the content itself, because you know dragons are cool, big scaly monsters, but like the history behind it. How did everyone come up with the same or similar stories? And
in recent times, I love how we've been able to edit further the origins and like the mystique of dragons. D&D alone.
Different colors of dragons.
Matte dragons. Colored matte dragons are evil inherently, and metallic dragons are good, benevolent. So
I actually saw a meme about that today. So matte dragons are evil, metallic dragons are good. Wizards of the Coast. Oh, hey, this is Nicobolus. He's a gold dragon. He's very, very evil. But metallic dragons are good. Nicobolus is very, very evil.
No, I would love to have like somebody that's like made a PhD out of studying dragons.
I'm sure they exist.
I would get them on the show in an instant. Like even if I had to like Skype call them, and I hate Skype. We live in a world of Discord, and I would still use Skype to talk to this person.
Yep.
And just like I would just let them talk. It would be their podcast for a day, just so that I could hear them talk endlessly about dragons. Ah, God, I want one. Like I want like a dragon the size of this apartment building to just be like my friend. I don't need to control him. I just want him to like. I just want to bring him money every once in a while, and like we just hang out and watch TV.
Do you remember Dragonheart?
The movie, the book series?
The movie.
I don't remember it very well.
It is a Sean Connery movie.
That's right.
Sean Connery is a dragon, and I forget the specifics, but like he's linked to this human who I think saved his life, and like I think the dragon ends up sacrificing himself to save the human's life at some point. I don't remember. I think they made like 3 of them.
Yeah. Like there's a bunch of media that's like that I get a lot confused.
Yeah.
Because you've got like if that's Dragonheart, remember Aragon?
Yes,
I
didn't watch it.
A lot of it's just a lot of
yeah.
similar writing.
Yeah.
You guys know I met a dragon once. Kremit, what are you doing? How'd you get back in here? You were supposed to be in the field. Which field did you go to? All of them.
Okay. Which dragon did you meet there, Kremit?
There's a dragon who has scales that are every color of the rainbow, and he has a mane that is every color of the rainbow, and he has a red squishy nose that goes honk honk when you touch it.
Kremit, are you sure this is a dragon and not a clown?
Oh wait, I've never heard of it. What's a clown?
A clown is someone who dresses up in bright, pretty colors and for entertainment for children.
So you're saying what I met was not a dragon?
It is unlikely that was a dragon. Yeah.
Okay, because he was foaming at the mouth. His eyes were dilated very wide. He said he was high on PCP, and he held me up for my wallet. So I came back because I need money for a taxi.
Yeah, that sounds like a clown there, Kremit. I think you got robbed by a clown high on drugs.
So I mean I'm looking out the window. I can see him. He's standing there. So he knows where you guys work. Would this clown be? Is there a possibility that if this is not a dragon, would you say he does not have any magical protection or influences?
I mean, you said he's likely on PCP, so like he might have some kind of protections.
But I mean, like, how many strikes to the head with a baseball bat would overcome his PCP protections?
Well, it's gonna depend on the strength of the PCP and how much he took.
It is an aluminum
and
baseball bat that I have filled with cement for such an occasion. So, how many times? Like once. 4 times. It's kind of heavy. I don't think I can swing it more than 7 times. But if it's any times less than 7.
Well, I mean, let's look at this like a Tootsie Pop. 1, 2, 3. Let's go with 3.
So you're gonna say I should bean this guy 3 times in the head with a aluminum concrete filled baseball bat to make sure he is in fact not a dragon but a clown who is abusing hard drugs.
I'm saying you should probably not go anywhere near him.
Well,
but
I'm not going to stay in here. You guys are working. I don't want to bug you or nothing. I mean, Kremit, we just want to make sure you get home safe. I mean, he's standing in he knows where I live. If he's been to one field, he's been to every field. What am I supposed to do? I mean, you could just kind of like chill in the living room if you have anything cool to add to the show. Like, you can just kind of chime in and use one of our microphones or something. But like, I don't like. We'll give this guy some time to, if we still have an episode to do, so like, we'll give him some time to calm down. We'll go explain the situation, and like, we'll. There's 3 of us and 1 of him. I don't think the PCP would like take him too far with like his magical protections and stuff. And like, you're not the only one with a concrete-filled aluminum baseball bat. It's nice to know I have friends like you. All right, I'm gonna go watch TV. You guys, sorry to interrupt your show. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch TV. You guys got Cinemax? Kermit, I don't have cable. Kremit. I keep calling you Kermit. I'm sorry. It's not a problem. It happens all the time. Yeah, Kremit. I'm sorry. I don't have cable. No, I don't have Cinemax. You have HBO Plus? I have Hulu.
We got YouTube. That's a thing.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just be on my phone.
Yeah,
you should be on my phone.
All right.
You guys got that Wi-Fi password? You know what? Never mind. Don't even worry about it. Go back to your show. Go back to your show. I have unlimited data. It's fine. Go back. I'm not here. I'm not here. All right.
That's Kremit the Fug, everybody. He just
I worry about him.
Yep. Yeah. That clown is still out there.
He is smiling menacingly.
He's not even in face makeup. That's just all the foam from his
that's
mouth.
just. It's like he put food dye in his mouth and then like crunched an Alka-Seltzer tablet.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, don't do drugs. Keep learning. Don't be afraid to admit when you don't know something, and at least don't do PCP.
Yeah.
Illicit substances.
If it's legal for you to do, consider maybe, but like, don't hurt yourself.
Don't let Scott influence your decision.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, do not take any advice from me. I am a horrible influence.
Don't do anything under the assumption that somebody told you that you were allowed to do something because it was legal.
Somebody told me.
Now we're gonna have to listen to that.
Oh boy.
For those that aren't aware, tell them what you're talking about.
So there's this artist out there,
a musician
who does what is it? Lounge music covers.
Yeah, like swing.
Yeah, of popular songs. Some of them are,
you know,
songs you wouldn't expect to have lounge covers.
Like songs that you should not sing in that genre.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if All Star by Smash Mouth was sung by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what this guy does.
Yeah.
His name's Richard Cheese. He has a YouTube presence. Go search him after the show. Finish up listening to us, but write this down. You're gonna have to listen to him later. He's good.
So specifically, this song I'm referencing is a cover of "Somebody Told Me" by the Killers, and it opens with him like just wasted out of his mind, trying to forget about this girl, and it's such a fantastic song.
It's a really dare I say it's a better cover of the song than the original. And he gets into it. It's not the emotion is there. It's good.
And that is hard to fake. It's just pure raw emotion.
I'm good. I'm just start the song. Somebody told me. Yeah. It's so good. There was a night at work, because I remember I introduced you to him.
Yep.
And I just wanted, because I think that song had come on the work radio like recently.
Probably, yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's this guy that does a really good cover of this song, and it's really funny. And you're like, who's it by? And I'm like, oh, it's this guy Richard Cheese. Have you ever heard of him? And he's like, no. I'm like, so, and I explained the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, he does lounge music covers of famous songs. And he's like, really? So we put on Somebody Told Me. Scott's dying laughing. And we just kind of let it autoplay while we were working and discovered a bunch of other hits.
Because, like, who would think that lounge music would work for Down with the Sickness?
Or Chop Suey. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die.
Oh man, I can picture just, sitting at a bar, just at the lounge there. He's playing live and just old timey 50s nostalgia.
Yeah.
But
it's good. I'm thinking about all the songs now. All of them are good. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. It's so good.
So something else that we try to encourage here on Deviating Tangents is to take your own tangents.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
We'll plant the seeds, but then you gotta go do your own research.
Oh, yeah,
And,
seriously.
like, if you want to understand half of what we're talking about, there's just so much you gotta research.
Yeah, how are you supposed to get any bonus points if you don't know what we're talking about? If you can beat us to the punch with a given subject, I mean, you're just more in the know. And then that sets you up for a better future of listening to our show. I can't believe we're at episode 4 already.
Right?
It seems like just the other day we shoddily recorded what was originally episode 1, only to realize, no, we can't make this public for people to listen to because it was just bad.
Yeah.
Not for any, like, moral reasons. It was just like, we weren't polished. It wasn't...
We didn't really understand the format yet.
Yeah, we had to try this a couple times. And it's still not good. But here you are.
We assume. We can't actually see you listening to this.
Everybody left.
Yeah, they're all out with the clown.
There's like 30 people in the field. Hey guys, there's like 30 people outside with the clown. They're beating him up. I think I'm good to go. I don't think a clown high on PCP can really fight off 30 people.
Well, I mean, sure.
There's some girls with pom-poms that are just cheering everything. It's like, man, I kind of want to go out and join them. But I'm afraid for my life, so I will stay put.
Yeah, that's probably safer.
Yeah, carry on. I'm going to hide under the bed if anybody needs me. Ladies and gentlemen, Kremit the Fug.
He's not gonna leave.
He's not. I think
Yeah.
he lives here now. Yeah. Kremit, do I have to sign you to the lease? Could you? I mean, if you pull up the paperwork, I can sign it, and I'm legible. I can write it.
And remember, if he stays in a cage, he's furniture.
I heard that. I'm not living in a cage. You know, despite all my rage, I am still just a frog in a cage. Ah, welcome to I'll come out and tell my own story. I mean, get out of here, get out of the way. Hello, everybody. My name is Kremit the Fug. Hee-hoo. Instead of hi-ho, because that's what Kermit says, and I'm not him. I'm Kremit.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess this has turned into a little mock interview. Scott, what would you like to know about my history with the two of you guys working?
Well, we've been told that you're a guy who can get stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm really good at getting stuff.
What are some of the things that they've gotten to for people?
So that clown outside, I got that for you.
What? and why exactly did you give me a clown who was high on PCP and is now being beaten up by 30 small children in a field?
Wait, those are children out there? Oh, hell yeah, that looks like fun. They must think he's a pinata. He's all colorful and stuff. Hey, Scott, you alright? It looks like he's about to fall to the floor. His face is all red like a lobster. He can't breathe. But no, what were you... Oh, why would you want a PCP-fueled clown? I don't know. I figured you might want one. I was trying to do a good deed. I was gonna get a present for my pal, and
okay. It's the thought that counts. Yep.
Would you like a better example of me getting stuff for people?
Sure. Let's go with that.
So I got the clown the PCP. But something happened in the middle where he was supposed to pay me, and then he pulled a gun on me. He was like, no, I'm getting this for free, and in fact, you owe me a bunch of money. which is weird. I don't even remember what I charged him, but I'm pretty sure it's not for what the going rate was. I don't get high on my own supply, so I honestly have no idea what the street value of the stuff is, but...
Yep.
But apparently asking for any amount was too much, and then he got upset, and then I came in here and I hid. Doing all right there, guy?
I'm good. I'm good. Yep.
You want to ask me another question?
What does your home life look like? There?
I've got
relatives?
Many children.
All right, many children.
I have one wife, but many children. A lot of people think that fugs are like frogs, and they're not. Frogs do this thing where the female lays a bunch of eggs, and so two parents can have like 100 babies. I have like 300 babies, and my fug wife, she can only have one baby at a time. So the question resides: how fast does she carry it to term? The answer is 4 months. But how could I have hundreds and hundreds of babies?
Yeah, the math on that.
I steal them. I'm just cutting to the quick. I know exactly what you were going to ask me.
Why are you stealing children, Kremit? That's no. You can't be stealing children.
Why not? Angelina Jolie did it. Oh, I see what's going on. I'm not supposed to be stealing children, am I?
Now you're starting to get it.
Well, I mean, I got my hands on them. Not that way. I mean, I stole the children, and they're fed, they're clothed, they have, well, not a roof over their head, but
because they're out in the field, right?
That's where I live, so that's where they live. They live in a protected family structure. What?
Why are you stealing children?
For tax reasons. What? I mean, if every dependent is $1,000, and then slightly less on the next one, I'm trying to see if there's a soft cap for how low the feds will pay for my children.
Kremit, you're a drain on the system.
Well, it's about time. President Reagan came in and made all the rich people's taxes really low, and now I have to pay for it. So now I'm making them pay for it with the children.
But that's not okay. You're ruining the lives of these children.
Oh, and you think that you're get off scot-free because you're like, oh, just because weed's legal, you can do it. I never once encouraged drug use in the young children's.
You gave a clown PCP and let the kids beat him up with bats.
He's 48! His life was garbage before I stepped into it. He's a 48-year-old clown that hangs out by himself in a field. I thought I was doing him a favor. He's like, hey, man, can you give me some PCP? I need my fix. I'm like, well, your life can't possibly get any worse. Get it!
And now you got all your children beating them with concrete-filled aluminum bats.
I know, isn't it great? Hopefully you didn't use all of it so I can take it back and I can resell it. That's what I'm about, recycling. I'm in this for a cleaner planet.
Okay. Going about it the wrong way, but that's a good attitude to have.
What do you mean I'm going about it the wrong way? You know what? New question. I don't want to talk about this anymore. You're getting too personal with the questions. Let's do a more business-oriented question.
What are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future.
Where does Kremit see himself in 5 years?
Hopefully, Dad. Fugs only live to be about 42. I don't know why that's the number. With human beings, it's like 70 or like 80. But it's 70s or 80s. For whatever reason, Fugs live to 42 and then they die.
I mean, that's the ultimate answer.
And I am currently 39. So, I mean, if I live for another 5 years, like, then I'm breaking some molds. But I better not. My life is miserable with all the children and whatnot.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have stolen so many.
They were legally obtained.
But you said they were stolen.
Legally.
What?
Okay, I make myself sound more important by saying that, oh, I can steal anything, but realistically, these are children that were, you know, they were hanging out in the street and they were playing stickball, and they didn't have tags on them to say what house they belonged to.
What?
So I was like, you know what? These children most likely don't have a home. I think it's weird that even though I pick them up and sling them over my shoulder and walk down the street with them screaming for their parents, and then this couple comes out of the house really close by and starts, like, threatening to kill me.
The parents?
No, they look nothing like the child. I mean, the mom kind of looks like him, but the dad looks nothing like...
All right. Well, that's interesting.
Is that enough? Can I go? I mean, I'm the one that came in here, so it's not like I had to stay, but... Yeah, Kremit, I think, yeah, you're good to go. Why don't you go watch some YouTube? Are you guys sure you don't want to ask me any questions? No, Kremit, we're good. You can go. All right, if you guys need me anything, and look, the clown, he's like, he's evaporating. His legs are curling up into themselves, kind of like in that movie, The Wizard of Oz, when the house falls on her. You know, her legs are all like, Right, you guys are doing a show. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave you be.
Wizard of Oz is a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's a classic movie.
It's really a psycho trip, too.
And there's that whole thing where if you put on Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd at a certain time, it syncs up very well with the movie. I've done that.
I haven't.
There's actually a YouTube video for it. It's the whole of the experience. It's called Dark Side of Oz. If you're ever interested. If anyone's ever interested, you can go ahead and try it. Speaking of The Wizard of Oz, something I never quite understood. Well, something I did understand is I just think it's interesting that it's you have all of these characters. You have, like, the Scarecrow who has no brain. You have the Tin Man who has no heart. And you have the Cowardly Lion who has no courage. Literally, and it's to show, it's set up for the end of the movie. This movie's over 100 years old. Jeez. Or it's about 100. So, no spoilers. It's a classic movie. Go watch it. At the end of the movie, and it's announced that, like, oh, they already had all these things. They just had no visible representation for them.
They didn't know they had these things.
Exactly. Scarecrow is the idea guy. He comes up with literally every idea. If you watch the entire movie, he does 100% of the thinking. And I didn't realize, and I knew that, but I didn't realize how blatantly obvious it was until, like, the last time I watched it, which was, like, last year. And I'm like, yeah, literally every idea is his idea. So even if he prefaces it with, I'm not much about thinking about things, but he always is the one to say, I have an idea. And, like, the Tin Man and Cowardly Lion, to a degree, it's less.
Yeah.
But it's like, because how do you
quantify courage?
Or, like, feelings.
Yeah.
But it's like, Tin Man always cries. Like, when the poppies put Dorothy and Lion to sleep, and he just has a mental breakdown.
Oh, so that's an interesting bit. Do you know why they fall asleep in the poppy field?
Because poppies are opiates and can make you sleepy.
Exactly. They are in a field of drugs.
Can somebody find drugs? No, Kremit, you're fine. Go back to watching your, I don't know, what are you watching, Caillou? How unlikable is Caillou?
I think that's kind of the point.
How does a show run for that long with such an unlikable main character?
I mean...
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, PBS, Public Broadcasting Service?
Yeah.
It's either public broadcasting service or system.
Either way.
It's a channel for if you don't have cable.
Yeah.
Where you can always just get public broadcasting television. There was a list of cartoons that were made for PBS, and it's where you'd be able to watch like the Joy of Painting with Bob Ross, and
I think Arthur as well.
Arthur was on PBS, maybe still is. There was another animated show for children about a 3-year-old boy. Was he 3? Maybe supposed to have been like 2, but he was capable of speech. I'm gonna say he was 3. This kid was named Caillou. Caillou was literally a problem. He does nothing but whine and complain when he can't have his way. I'm saying he's being a child. He's acting very childish, but like he is a child. He's 4.
He's 4.
That feels almost worse. Like I get it when you have a young child and there's susceptible to like tantrums and stuff, but like there's a certain young age where that's acceptable and expected, and then like as it gets older, I feel like that's supposed to like teeter off more and more. But like I guess 4 is still like the acceptable tantrum age, but like I just hate this kid.
So speaking of tantrums, I checked out how old Caillou is, and one of the suggested search results is, why is Caillou bad? And the answer they give: the crux of most Caillou complaints is that the title character has an almost supernatural ability to reach through the television and turn the show's young viewers into shrill monsters. Children who watch this program tend to copy Caillou's behavior.
Yeah, because that's what TV does.
Yeah.
You find characters that you want to like personify, and they teach you how to be. Mm-hmm. That's what like educational television is for. That's why like I grew up with shows with like Captain Planet, and
I love Captain Planet.
Now I'm concerned about the ecological state of the world. Somebody better pick up that clown from that field.
There's a wig and some foam left.
I think that's not even, there's not even a person.
Yeah.
That's just the wig and the outfit and a pile of dust. Somebody Thanos snapped that clown.
I'm mildly concerned.
Is that what PCP does to the body? Drugs. Not even once.
Those anti-drug commercials are stupid. Like,
I think some of them got their point across.
Yes. On the other hand, all of the anti-pot commercials. What's pot gonna do to you?
Gonna make you tired.
Yeah. You watch cartoons, you eat some snacks, and you fall asleep. That's it.
That's like alcohol, which we had a prohibition on in the turn of the century, is completely illegal, assuming you're above a certain age. And then you have marijuana, which is not legal. One of those things makes you think you can do things you clearly can't, and the other one makes you think you can't do things that you really can.
And one of those is quite a bit more dangerous than the other. The false confidence there is like, yeah, it's funny to watch your friend try and sing karaoke when they're drunk off their ass.
But that's in a safe environment.
Yeah, it's quite another to see your friend
fail at karaoke,
the bar.
Yes, and then try to go, and they're like, "Where's my keys?"
Yeah.
That's where the problem lies. And really, it's an everything in moderation bit.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before this?
We're gonna have an epic clip show at some point.
Oh yeah. Have you ever heard of that? I guess because they tested this on Mythbusters. I guess if we're coming back to that, have you ever heard the myth that you shouldn't eat poppy seed bagels before taking a drug test?
Yes. You would need to eat a considerable amount of just straight up poppy seeds to fail.
It's one of those things where
it's rooted in logic, but not quite.
Not like practical logic.
Yeah.
Because like don't eat almonds, they have cyanide in them.
Yeah.
It's like you'd have to eat like pounds and pounds of almonds all at once.
And it's not the almonds we're all familiar with. It's a different subspecies of almond.
It's like that's the stuff I love. It's like you shouldn't eat that because it'll kill you.
Yeah.
In large amounts instantly.
Yeah.
And it's like I would die of eating too much before I would get like
yeah.
cyanide poisoning.
It's like, oh hey, the doctor said this X-ray is completely safe, but then he got behind a lead blast shield. The X-rays are completely safe for the small amount of time that you're being exposed to them.
Yes.
For a doctor to be there every single day, X-raying, tons of patients every single day throughout the entire year, that much radiation, is absolutely deadly.
Yeah, and it's like, even hiding behind that lead shield, there's a possibility that they're still getting irradiated.
Yeah.
So it's like, absolutely, when it comes to safety precautions, it's like, what is it like with CT scans, where they have to do the radioactive isotope to be able to like follow your body, like your body's systems, to just so that it can show up on the actual scan. It's like, yes, your body is being irradiated, but it's such a low dose of radiation that it's not realistically harmful to you. I suppose if you had to have many, many, many CT scans done within the span of a year, then it could have some lasting effects, but it's not like you're going to a chemo appointment.
Yeah, you're probably getting more radiation just being exposed to everyday air.
Yeah. Like the sun.
Exactly.
The sun's radiation.
Yeah.
You go out, you get a tan, you get a sunburn, that's all radiation.
You're literally letting the sun cook you.
Exactly.
Which is
scary.
An odd way to put that.
Really metal.
I don't have a tan. I'm nice and crispy golden brown.
Yeah. You see, how do you manage to get such a nice tan? Well, instead of tanning oil, I like to go with a light egg wash. No, I avoid the sun.
Yeah.
At all costs. I can't say like the plague, because if the last 2 years have taught us anything, it's that people will not avoid a plague.
Yeah, no, they'll go lick it.
That was a weird time.
Yeah. It's not over.
It's not.
I did read though that you can get a flu shot and the other shot at the same time with no ill effects.
That's pretty cool.
So they're probably just gonna roll the two into one, which would make the most sense to me. I don't know if that's the actual plan, but that
got enough people protesting the one as it is. It's like there's not the people getting flu shots anyway.
Yeah.
This is going to be the laser beams episode.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about silly shit.
Yeah.
Because that's fun. I don't want you to come over here to remind me that life sucks and everyone I know and care about's going to die.
You're going to die, and your dad's going to die, and your mom's going to die.
And then you're going to die.
No, but like, I feel like that's something that needs to be talked about, though. Like life isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and to just ignore the reality is detrimental.
Yeah, completely ignoring it.
Yes.
The original concept of this show was to be a respite so that people didn't have to deal with the bullshit that comes with day-to-day life.
I thought it was to just multi-track drift.
Yes, about fun things.
So another of those high school Disney TV shows that is pretty good, Emperor's New School.
That was a good show.
Yeah. So Cusco loses his emperor powers or his head of state.
I think it's before
nobility.
He has the right to claim them.
Yeah. So he has to go to school and graduate and all that. And of course the principal is Yzma,
the bad guy.
And it's just him going through school and he's the spoiled rich kid who now doesn't have access to the spoiled rich kid things.
Yeah.
And he has to just be a normal kid.
I think early 2000, like late 90s and early 2000s, like Disney Channel cartoons were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You had all of the movie show originals.
Yep.
So you've got like Hercules, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Lilo and Stitch, Emperor's New School. And then you had, like, the originals, like Dave the Barbarian. Mm-hmm. That was my show.
He made a megaphone using only a squirrel and a megaphone.
There was a period of time, this is really embarrassing, there was a period of time where I tried to make Dave's catchphrase, pajabbers, a real thing. It did not.
Yeah.
It's much harder to say in an instant when you need it to, when it's not on a piece of paper written in front of you, for you to be like, oh yes, now I say pajabbers.
That is so fetch.
Editor's note. Am I fully aware that Scott is trying to make a Mean Girls reference? Yes. Am I going to allow him his happiness? No. Don't.
You had the perfect opportunity to use the phrase and you didn't use it.
I'm not just going to pander to your lowest common denominator. Do you know what I saw the other day? Talking about movies now, which, welcome to Deviating Tangents, where we seemingly only talk about movies. I saw a video on YouTube the other day that was specifically a chronological list of animated Disney villain deaths. It's interesting because there were over a large span of time, there were plenty of Disney movies from when Snow White came out to all the way up to even now. So the very first two on the list are the evil queen, the wicked queen from Snow White, and then immediately jumps to Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, which is a movie that's like came out 30 years after Snow White. Literally, there was no death happening at Disney. And then from there, it jumped ahead like another 25 years to Fox and the Hound.
Yep.
And then villains didn't start dying really until the 90s.
Just like our childhoods.
Because I think right after Fox and the Hound was Rescuers Down Under, and then I think from there it goes right into like the Disney Renaissance with Little Mermaid and all that.
Such a great era for movies.
They were really good, and unfortunately, they're all being remade into live action to recapture the magic that once was.
Why did they make a live action, in heavy air quotes, Lion King? That's not live action, that's just CGI.
Yeah.
Not good CGI.
It was good. It looked good. Did you watch it?
I've seen parts of it.
Did you watch it?
No.
Because the design engine that they were using, they looked like real animals. The problem is when they have to start talking.
Yes.
Because animals don't talk.
Yep.
Which was an innate problem with the system.
So my question though is why? Like it was already an animated movie. It worked as an animated movie. What benefit was there to making it CGI instead of just getting more money?
Well, for one, I would imagine pushing their new rendering technology to its limit to see how close they can make something look analogous to reality. And two, I think, if I remember correctly, the Lion King remake came out after Disney Plus had already become a thing, and Disney was paired with National Geographic. So to make a movie about African wildlife that looked real might satisfy the shareholders with Nat Geo.
I guess.
But that's purely speculation. I have no real...
I don't like Disney Plus. I don't like Hulu either.
I don't like stuff I have to pay for, says Scott.
So it's more than that, actually. If I'm paying for a service, that should be the end of it. Like, if I want to watch Raya and the Last Dragon, I shouldn't need to pay for Disney Plus and then also buy the movie. Like why is that an extra charge?
That's not the common. That's happened with a few things so far, but
My
90s.
point is it shouldn't. It's horse armor. They're testing the waters to see how much they can get away with.
Why did you use the phrase horse armor?
Because that's how DLC and microtransactions got to the horrible world that they're in today. Because we didn't stop it before it became a problem.
So are you referencing something specifically? Because the concept of armoring a horse is not new, it is important.
I'm talking about the horse armor added to Skyrim.
Okay.
Or Oblivion, or one of those Elder Scrolls games. They were microtransactions to add horse armor to the game.
Okay, well, if that is... I understand your argument, and I'm not arguing against it. But to call something... Because I've never heard the phrase horse armor being a bad thing.
I mean, if you want to protect your horse, put armor on it, sure. But I mean specifically the cosmetic microtransactions that were supposed to stay cosmetic, and now, like... some games you can't play without spending another $100 on microtransactions.
No, and I get that. And yes, I think if I'm paying for a subscription service, if I'm paying that monthly fee, I shouldn't have to pay more on top of it to watch a movie. But it's like, I understand. That's why my problem with this that could be solved is if Disney did not release movies on Disney Plus at the same time that they could come out in theaters. Mm-hmm. That was the whole Black Widow thing all over again.
Well, I mean, part of that was, is still COVID, but...
Well, yes, but it's like, but if we weren't in a situation like that right now, they'd do it anyway.
Yeah.
Let the movie have a theatrical run, then when it runs out that time, add it to Disney Plus for no extra fee.
Yep, I'm fine with that. Because, in pre-COVID times, I have no problem going to a movie theater.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy the experience. Yeah, I can get everything online for next to nothing, if not nothing. But I enjoy the experience. I'll pay extra for the experience.
Yes.
Why am I paying extra to sit on my couch?
Because you get to see it when it comes out.
Who cares?
Apparently you do.
I'm fine with waiting a couple of weeks to.
Well, some people want to go see new movies as they come out.
And I'll do that at the theater.
Okay.
Why do I have to also do that at my house?
Because you want to go to the movies, but you don't want to get sick from the germs that people have. Or what if you have one of those mega entertainment system rooms?
How great are those, though?
Well, I get your plight. I understand what your complaint is, but it's just an evil that exists, and you can choose not to participate. And while, yes, you have a viewpoint, doesn't mean like that's a... I have to talk about this now.
That's fair, yeah.
People do things that I don't like, so now I'm going to complain about it.
Welcome to Deviating Tangents.
Where specifically Scott does that.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't we just cut out like several whole segments here because you didn't want to talk about them?
I'm thinking of the people.
Oh, boy. We have fun here on this show.
Let us know if you want us to have more guest stars on the show. I'll try to get them in, and we'll... Oh, look, it's Morgan Freeman with the weather. Mr. Freeman, what's the weather going to be like today? Well, as you know, it happens to be very warm outside right now. As we move more into the season, it's going to get cooler. It's cooler at night. So you should certainly look forward to keeping your windows open. We get as low as 50 degrees around this parts.
Is that why the clown melted? It was too hot.
It didn't melt, he evaporated. So Red Circle has this thing when I upload episodes. There's this little box down at the bottom of the information header that says, "Is this episode explicit?" Welcome to Deviating Tangents, episode 4, where we have this show where we talk about stuff that is sensitive because we're sensitive people. We have a guest star on the show today. Please introduce yourself. Hello, everyone. I am Kremit the Fug. Stop laughing. I'm starting the episode over. That was a joke. Okay. This has been episode 4 of the Deviating Tangents podcast. We will see you guys in the 5th episode of Deviating Tangents podcast. Everyone have a good day. Please.
See y'all next week.